Desmond Ricks spent half his life in prison for a murder he says he didn't commit, and he vowed he would spend the rest of his life proclaiming his innocence.
It didn't matter how long I was in there. I'm not going to let you take from me the only thing I got left. The only thing I had left was my innocence.
So Desmond did something many might compare to throwing a Hail Mary pass. He tracked down the guy whose testimony put him away, ballistics expert David Townsend, and asked for his help.
So you got a call from Desmond Ricks. How many years later? What was that call like?
It might have been 20 years later. I answered the phone and it took me by surprise. It was a case of going back and trying to do what I could do to make things right by him.
Remember, Townsend said he always believed the bullets introduced as evidence were actually the test bullets, not the slugs removed from the body of Desmond's friend, Jerry Bennett. The first thing Townsend did was to view pictures of the evidence from a quarter-century earlier.
His attorney sent me photographs of the two evidence bullets. And I looked at them and said, those aren't the bullets I examined.
You instantly knew?
Oh, absolutely.
With that information, Desmond's attorney from the University of Michigan Innocence Clinic went to the judge to argue the evidence was falsified. But his attorney, Caitlin Plummer, says getting an exoneration, even with solid proof, is no slam dunk.
I think there's resistance in any old case to reopening it after the fact. The ballistics was the case, and so we knew if we could disprove that, then we could prove he didn't do it.
Part of that proof would come from the conclusion of independent firearms examiner David Baelish, formerly with the Michigan State Police.
The bullets that were used as evidence were too pristine to have gone in contact with bone in someone's body.
Absolutely.
There's no way they could have been the bullets.
Zero chance.
All of that was enough to convince the judge. And in a dramatic moment, Desmond walked out a free man.
When you finally heard those words, that you are free.
Yes, ma'am.
How did that feel after all that time?
It felt like it was finally over. When I did get a chance to go out in the hallway, I exhaled. You know, I took that last exhale, let all that bad air out.
What was the hardest part of losing 25 years of your life?
My mother died. I lost nephews, my uncle, my grandmother, just all my family members that were alive when I went in there. I'm the oldest living male figure on my mother's side of the family. They're 51 years old.
Desmond says that's why he moved his daughters and grandchildren in with him.
I love the time I spend with them. Every morning before school, they come in my room, Grandpa, you know, I got the snack bag with the candy on the floor, they get the snack bag, and we just watch cartoons until it's time to get dressed and go to school.
He's definitely making up for lost time. But what about 25 years of lost income and retirement savings? According to Michigan law, Desmond is entitled to $50,000 a year for every year he was falsely imprisoned. That's a whopping $1.25 million tax-free.
I don't think any amount of money can ever compensate somebody for however many years they spent in prison. You know, and $50,000 is probably not enough. You know, it should probably be $1 million for every year.
And that's why Desmond is now making a federal case of it. He hired civil attorney Wolfgang Mueller to sue the city of Detroit and the two police officers who he claims falsified the evidence.
What is the monetary compensation you're asking for in this case?
$125 million. And I expect that a jury, when they hear all the evidence, will render a verdict for every penny of that.
Was this egregious misconduct?
This was, I think, purely evil in that they started with an intentional fabrication of evidence, and then they just started lying. This is not a mistake.
At this time, there was no way to tell, but the gun had been fired recently.
Crime Watch Daily has obtained the video deposition of David Pouch, the now retired Detroit police evidence technician named in the lawsuit.
That means your conclusion, as we look on your report, that this is a positive ID, that the bullets came from that gun, one is incorrect. Are you with me?
I'm with you, but...
Okay. So now the question is, since you are competent, I got to ask you, did you come to that conclusion because you're incompetent or because you did it on purpose?
Neither one, sir.
Pouch said he didn't recall the murder investigation, and he denies any wrongdoing in his analysis of the ballistics. We reached out to the Detroit cops for reaction to the lawsuit, but they told us, quote, "At this time, the Detroit Police Department has no comment."
They switched the bullets. David Townsend was right.
This is criminal.
It is. They test fired the Mary Ricks's mom's gun apparently into a water tank, pulled those bullets out and passed them off as the ones that came from Jerry Bennett's body. We referred it to the Michigan Attorney General's office, and we were told that there's virtually no chance anything will happen because the statute of limitations is almost certainly run for fraud.
He paid time for their crime.
That's right.
For now, Desmond is focusing on his family, relishing the sweet taste of freedom.
How long does it take to get out of prison mode into freedom mode?
I'm still wrestling with it now, every day. But I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm happy, I'm grateful, and I'm humbled.
If Desmond Ricks is successful in his $125 million federal lawsuit against the city of Detroit and its police department, then he'll be forced to give back the $1 million payout he already received from the state. I'm Chris Hansen. If you like this story, make sure you tune in every day to Crime Watch Daily. You can find where the show airs in your city at crimewatchdaily.com. Watch it live or record it on your DVR and watch it at night. And to all those criminals out there, remember, we are watching.